Remember when I showed y'all that video of indications that your child might be trans, and one of the highlights was peeing sitting down?
Know that they are transgender from the moment that they have any ability to express themselves, and parents will often tell us this. We have parents who tell us that their kids, they knew from the minute they were born practically, and actions like refusing to get a haircut or standing to urinate, trying to stand to urinate, refusing to stand to urinate, trying on siblings' clothing, playing with the quote opposite gender toys, things like that. There is more and more a group of adolescents that we are seeing that really are coming to the realization that they might be trans or gender diverse a little bit later on in their life. So what we're seeing from them is that they always sort of knew something was maybe off and didn't have the understanding to know that they might be trans or have a different gender identity than the one they had been assigned. So that is a growing population that we are seeing, and that's being recognized as being trans and able to be treated.
Most of the patients that we have in the GEMS clinic actually know their gender, usually around the age of puberty, but a good portion of children do know as early as seemingly from the womb, and they will usually express their gender identity as very young children, some as soon as they can talk. They might say phrases such as I'm a girl, or I'm a boy, or I'm going to be a woman, or I'm going to be a mom. Kids know very, very early. So in the GEMS clinic we see a variety of young children all the way down to ages 2 and 3, and usually up to the ages of 9. When they come into the clinic, they'll see one of our psychologists, and we'll be talking to them about their gender. We'll be talking to their family about how to best support that child and how to make sure that that child has the space and support to explore their gender and do well throughout their development. And we'll be answering any parent questions. A lot of parents do have questions, and so we answer those questions. The biggest piece of advice I give parents who are coming through the gender clinic at Boston Children's Hospital is to just be supportive. Sometimes you might not understand, sometimes you feel like you don't know the terms, or you don't kind of get exactly what the child means when they say that they might be this gender, but the biggest thing you can do is just love your child and support them and just allow them to express themselves. That's the biggest protector as well against negative mental health effects such as depression, suicidality, anxiety that we worry about for our gender diverse kids and young adults. So that support from a parent is one of the best protective factors and one of the best things.
Well, you'll be glad to know that there's a new contender as an indication that your child could be trans, and it's even dumber than the last few.
Had anxiety and would never sleep, and we couldn't figure out what the problem was. We took him to specialists and neurologists, and he had brain scans trying to figure out why he couldn't sleep. Then as he grew, he got to sleeping, but his food choices were odd. They were always like green vegetables, raw green vegetables, which, if you know kids, most kids don't like to eat those things. And then the precocious puberty. All of those things, once we figured out that he was transgender, when he came to us and told us that he was transgender, when we went back and realized that the pattern of everything that he had experienced as a child, including eating green vegetables because that boosts testosterone, were just methods of his body trying to become who he was meant to be. His brain does not match his physiology.
And then I was Christmas shopping for them. They were 18 months old, and I bought one of those toy tool benches, and I was making the joke that, well, when one of them comes to me and says they're a man when they're 18, I can't say I didn't see it coming, just because they kind of did draw to boy toys, and I was just making a joke. But I am so glad I said it out loud, because I have that in my mind now that at 18 months old, something somewhere was telling me what he knew all along. Sure, of course. Okay. But so when he could start talking, he articulated to me that he was a boy. Mommy, I'm a boy. Mommy, I'm a boy. And both of my kids did Mommy, I'm a puppy, all that. It was very different. And we drug our feet on it because, what? You know, it's normal to not understand that, obviously. So we saw therapists and we saw doctors, and ultimately we came to know what he has known all along, which is that he really is a boy. He really is. And I will be starting gender affirming care for him. He's been seeing doctors for years, and it is a very long process. They are very thorough.
So I'm going to interrupt you just for a second.
Course.
I'm going to give you a few extra seconds to prove that. You can have it up.
Aren't they cute, though? Okay.
I'm not giving you that much extra.
Okay. But full disclosure, this is a slightly older photo because now they are preteens, and taking a photo for mom where they both smile is like, nah, that's lame. So now that he is almost 11 and starting puberty, we are discussing puberty blockers and what that would do. It would prevent him from growing the body of a woman, because I promise you he's not a woman. He shouldn't be in a woman's body. And honestly, I don't think he could survive if we forced him into it. I really don't. So we will find that care for him. I will go to the ends of the earth if I had to for either of these children. And we'll probably just go to New York, not the ends of the earth. But if this bill passes. So please don't make us travel for doctor's appointments. Don't make us consider leaving the state.
I don't understand how vegetables and eating them is a clear indication that a child who is around the ages of 7 to 11 is actually a boy in a girl's body, or vice versa. Me being ignorant to trans issues aside, I would think that there's a stronger indication that your child might be going through gender dysphoria, instead of peeing while sitting down, playing with a Barbie doll, and eating vegetables. I'm sorry, I may be ignorant. You could call me transphobic, but I just feel like there would be a stronger indication of that, as opposed of the various things that I've shown you in this video. And even if they are, to take it upon yourself to go to the next step is perfectly fine. You can sit down with your child, you can bring them to a therapist, a doctor, all these things. That's perfectly fine. But you gotta make sure that the child is actually learning about these things along the way, so that they're not making a rash decision, so they're not just jumping the gun, so that they're not just thinking this way is the right way, and then years later they think to themselves, I made a horrible mistake. Because yes, the statistics are small, but people do regret transitioning, and their stories are just as important as stories of kids transitioning and adults transitioning and teens transitioning. You want to segregate which ones are more important? In my opinion, all the stories are important for somebody who is confused on what they should do with their bodies.
How do I put this? The trans community lied to me. When I was a teenager, I was told that this discomfort I was feeling is just that I was meant to be a boy. And that if I transitioned, I would feel great. I would feel euphoric. It would be everything. But looking back, I think if someone at that time would have just said no, just told me no, just been like, no, we're gonna get you help you need. It's just a normal teenage thing to feel uncomfortable in your body. Maybe I wouldn't be where I am today. And I don't know what to do anymore. I'm mainly just gonna talk about this for a little bit, just for myself, but also just in the hopes that someone maybe will see this and just think for a minute. I have gone years at this point without interacting with the trans community online, just because of how blatantly just toxic and awful they were to me when I started to question things and started to not even question myself, just question hey, why do we want these things? This doesn't seem right. Maybe there should be gates or something in place. That's not the word, but just something in place where it shouldn't be this easy to get medical care for this kind of stuff. You shouldn't be able to walk in and leave with hormones that same day. Just questioning basic stuff like that. Questioning why they were denying sex and reality, biological sex. And just being bullied out of the community for it. I didn't feel supported. That's what a community is supposed to do. But I was shunned and shoved aside and told that I didn't matter, and if I died, it didn't matter, because I wasn't contributing to their narrative. And I feel like at this point, I have spent years not talking about them and just being a silent watcher of what was happening. And I can't do that anymore. I can't just stand by and not share my experience when there's children being pulled into this at this point. And maybe doing this in a video isn't a good idea. Maybe putting my face to this isn't the right move, but I believe in this, and since I believe in this, I don't see any shame in putting my face towards what I need to say. I am now 20 years old. I started medically transitioning at 16. I got a double mastectomy before I was on hormones. And then a few months later, I was put on testosterone. It has now been, at least 4 years since then. I've been taking testosterone ever since. And earlier this year, I stopped it. Because this isn't the solution. Destroying my body, my life. I was a teenager. I didn't know better. I was, as I said, I am now 20 years old. And I don't know where I stand in the world. There isn't a place for me. And it's not because of transphobia or anything like that Twitter or any other place is going to make you try and believe. It is because of what has been done to me. What I did to myself. I'll never be fully male. I'll never, at this point, there's no really going all the way back. And I don't know what to do. Like I said, I was a child when this happened to me. And they will tell you, it's not happening. No one is giving double mastectomies to teenagers. It's okay. It's okay. It's reversible. You can go back. You can do all this stuff. But what if you can't? It's called irreversible damage for a reason. I sit here now, at 20, wondering if I will ever be able to have children. And hoping, praying, that maybe I did not damage myself beyond repair in that respect. And I share this not for sympathy. I don't want any pity points from anyone on any side of the political spectrum going, oh my god, we're so sorry this happened to you. I am over it. I share this in the hopes that people know that this is going on, that it's more common, and that people just hear some other side of what's happening. It's not for me at this point. I don't know what my future will look like. I'll be here, regardless. I'm not going anywhere. But maybe some 14-year-old that's about to come out as something or demand they go on hormones will take a minute and think, maybe I should wait. Because I truly believe if I would have just waited until I was stable, and if I had gotten the mental health treatment I needed, and had just waited until I was stable enough, till I didn't have to take antidepressants, till any of this, that I would have been okay. I would have been.
But when I hear someone say peeing while sitting down eating vegetables or touching a Barbie doll is strong indications my brain cells rot because my only response is how. And to be honest, I'm transgender if that's the case, because if you don't know, part of my brand is wearing a pink hat. So maybe, just maybe, my clitoris is showing and everyone should just try to find it. This is a scenario where I open the floor to my trans people out there, whether if you're a trans man or a trans woman. Let me know, is this a strong indication that you could have been trans as a child if you're a grown adult and you've decided to transition, or is it absolutely stupid? Because I will thoroughly admit I am confused and I really want to be educated, because I think saying that you eating vegetables is an indication is absolutely fucking stupid. But in the meantime, subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in the next one. Remember, if you want to be transphobic, don't eat vegetables.